Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of choices, like 40 different brands of toothpaste, a million coffee shops on one street, apps for everything, but they all kind of do the same
Oh, I
thing?
know what you mean. It's that paradox of choice, right? More options than ever, but it's almost paralyzing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where branding comes into play, wouldn't you say?
Mhm.
In a world overflowing with options, how does your thing stand out?
It's the make or break question, really.
Well, that's what we're diving into today. We're using Stuart Crawford's guide, Invest in Branding. And it's not just some vague theoretical stuff, it gets tactical.
Love that about Crawford. He gets right to the point.
Mhm.
And one of his big things is how crucial first impressions are in this environment.
He says, and this kind of blew my mind, that users decide whether to stay on your website in, get this, zero point zero 0.05 seconds,
A fraction of a second to grab someone's attention.
practically instantaneous.
It really is. It shows you how vital that instant recognition is. Your brand has to communicate its essence immediately. Everything matters. The logo, colors, messaging, all telling the same story.
Like those golden arches Crawford talks about. See those? You instantly know McDonald's.
Exactly. Fast food, that familiarity, consistency, New York, New Delhi, those arches tell a story. So what's your golden arches equivalent? What's that instant impression for what you do?
It's a question we all need to be asking ourselves
Yeah.
because it's not just about that first glance, right? It's about building trust over time. And with thousands of marketing messages bombarding us every day, as Crawford points out, that's no easy task.
Oh, tell me about it. We're drowning in messages. Makes it so hard to know what to trust. And that's where consistent branding comes in. You've got to prove your reliability over time, show up authentically, and deliver on your promises. It's not a one-time thing. It's about building a real relationship.
And Crawford backs this up with some pretty interesting data. He says consistent branding can boost revenues by up to 23%.
Makes sense though, right? Consistency creates that sense of familiarity, and familiarity builds trust. If you deliver on your brand promise consistently, people learn they can rely on you.
So I'm curious, what are some brands you trust implicitly? And more importantly, what did they DO to earn that trust from you?
Okay, so trust is key, got it. But here's the thing. How do you stand out when it seems like everyone's selling the same thing? Like, it's that idea Crawford uses, commoditized. Right,
Yeah.
commoditized. It's when everything in a market starts to look the same to consumers. Decisions are mostly about price at that point.
Makes sense. Two smartphones, practically identical. You'd probably just grab the cheaper one.
Exactly. So the question is, how do you break free from that price-driven battle?
Right. Gotta be a way.
That's where differentiation comes in, and Crawford, he nails this. Your brand, he says, it's your biggest differentiator. You have to communicate that unique value proposition, the why behind what you do.
It reminds me of that quote, I think it was Simon Sinek that Crawford uses. People don't just buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Powerful stuff.
Absolutely. It's about connecting on a deeper level, understanding your audience's values, what they want, what problems they have. Then you show how your brand aligns with those things in a way that others don't, telling the story that resonates.
So just having a great product or service isn't enough anymore. You've got to articulate why your great matters more. How would a brand even begin to figure out their why? It feels kind of, I don't know, esoteric.
It takes some real soul searching, for sure. You have to identify the values, the passions that drive your business beyond just making a profit. What problem are you solving? What impact do you want to have? When you uncover those deeper motivations, that's what you weave into your brand story.
Like those brands that have almost a cult following, they're not just selling a product, they're selling a lifestyle, a community, a set of beliefs.
Exactly. Think about Patagonia, for example, or Tom S. Shoes. They've aligned themselves with strong values, social and environmental, and that resonates with people who share those values.
Huh.
It's a powerful emotional connection.
So we've moved way beyond logos and taglines here. It's about finding the heart of your brand. But let's be practical for a second. How does all this branding talk translate into actual business success? Does it actually affect the bottom line?
Oh, absolutely. And Crawford, he doesn't shy away from that at all. In fact, that's where his tactical advice really shines.
Yeah.
He argues a strong brand can actually command a price premium.
Meaning people will pay more for something because of the brand.
Exactly. And it makes sense if you think about it. We're more likely to choose the brand we see as higher quality, more reliable, even if it costs a bit more.
Yeah.
Especially if it aligns with our values.
He uses the example of Visa, how they can command that premium because of the trust and security associated with their brand.
Exactly. And it's not just about those upfront costs either. Loyal customers, they're gold. Crawford points out they cost less to retain and often become your biggest advocates.
Like that old saying, the best advertising is word of mouth.
Exactly. They become walking, talking testimonials. That organic growth is so powerful. So really, investing in your brand, it's not about a flashy logo, it's about building a sustainable business with customers who stick around.
So we've covered a ton in this deep dive.
We really have, from first impressions to building trust when everyone's vying for attention, and how a strong brand helps you stand out in a crowded market.
But Crawford, he doesn't just leave us hanging, He offers some pretty thought-provoking ideas to chew on.
He does. He emphasizes how much branding has evolved. It's gone way beyond just products and services.
Right. It's about connecting on a deeper level now, right?
Exactly. He calls it purpose-driven branding.
So it's not enough to have a great product or service. You need to stand for something bigger.
Yes, something meaningful. Importantly, something your ideal customer also believes in.
It's got to be genuine, though.
Oh, absolutely. Consumers, especially younger generations, they can sniff out a marketing ploy a mile away. Authenticity is everything.
You got to walk the walk.
100%. It's about integrating your values into every single part of your brand. Your supply chain, how you treat employees, the social causes you support.
People can tell when you actually care about something and when you're just jumping on a bandwagon.
And they'll support the authentic ones, that's for sure.
Makes me think of Patagonia again. They're known for their environmental activism. Or Ben & Jerry's, all that social justice advocacy they do. They really weave their values into everything.
And it works because it resonates with people who share those values. It creates that sense of community, like you're part of something bigger.
Which is a powerful thing to tap into. This idea of purpose-driven branding, it's not just for businesses either.
That's so true. It applies to personal branding, too.
100%. In this day and age, we're all building our own personal brands, whether we realize it or not, and those same principles apply.
If you want to make a real impact, they do.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with a question that Crawford asks, and it's one I've been pondering ever since I read it. If you had to audit your own personal brand right now, what would it reveal? What story are you telling the world through your actions, your words, your online presence?
Ooh, that's a good one. It really makes you think.
It does, because just like those brands we've been talking about, we all have the power to build something truly authentic and compelling. A brand, even a personal one, that resonates and creates meaningful connections.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. If you're feeling inspired to invest in your brand, and I have a feeling a lot of you are, be sure to check out Crawford's Invest in Branding. We'll link it in the show notes. And until next time, keep those deep dive requests coming.